Dear listeners, my name is Anthony Clark.
And I'm Melanie Clark.
And we are
the Amazing Clarks.
We're both award-winning certified life and love coaches and a husband and wife duo that have been coaching together as a team for 24 years and that have been passionately in love for 34. They call us the Amazing Clarks because we empower people to live amazing lives.
We're here to get you from where you are to where you want to be in life and love. Love the Amazing Clarks is our personal love letter to all of you who love love.
That's right. And we love love.
Yes, we do.
So today we have another amazing podcast for you guys. We're going to cover another irritating trait from our book, our ebook called How to Stop Being an Irritating Person. 20 irritating traits that pushes people away and how to fix them. So each week we've been covering one irritating trait that you may or may not have, or maybe someone you love has, and we're going to show you how to change it. So today's irritating trait is trait number 8, conversation hogging. Ooh. Being a conversation hog. So once again, we wrote this book not to make you feel bad or to shame you, but for you to see that maybe you have this irritating trait. And that irritating trait may be affecting your dating life. It might be affecting your marriage or relationship, your life with your relationships with your children, or life in general. And so usually when we have irritating traits, people will just move away from us or cut us off and not tell us that we have that irritating trait. And we're usually the last ones to know. So it's like having a booger on your nose and nobody's letting you know you got a booger on your nose. Do you want to know if you have a booger on your nose? Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
So this book is going to help you to see whether or not you have that trait. And if you identify that you have it, first of all, don't be defensive. My name is Anthony Clark, and I had some irritating traits too. And I'm still working on some irritating traits because I'm always striving to be a better person and have better relationships. So be open, be vulnerable. It's not a personal attack. You can't change things until you understand them. And this book is going to help you to do that. And not only help you to understand it, but also give you tips on how to change it so you can have better outcomes in your life.
Yeah. You know, I think what's good about it too, Anthony, is like we hear in coaching, like a lot of people saying that they're being ghosted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, you never know why. So I think this book is so good. Like no one has to tell you. You could actually get the book and read it and then identify it yourself. And then in the privacy of your own home, be like, ooh, I do that. Let me work on that. Let me try and change that. Let me be aware of that. And I just really like the idea of growing personally. And it's one of my favorite things. So I love that this is a resource for people to take a look at themselves without people actually having to tell them. You can do it yourself. So it's a good thing.
In many cases, you may see people, maybe it's not you that have this trait. Maybe it's someone that you love or care about. And it helps you to understand them better, which helps you to not take it so personally. And you can't change things really until you understand them. And me personally, writing this ebook was important because I have lots of people in my family or friends that have irritating traits. And I want to have a closer relationship to them, but I can't because of these traits are in the way.
Yeah.
And they don't have the awareness, or they're not open to hearing it from me. Yeah. And I don't want to be walking around trying to tell everybody about themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, my hopes was that maybe by writing this ebook, they would see it and see themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And change it so we can get closer. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice? So I'm not going to be a conversation hog. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the main, before we jump to the main topic, we're going to go through it's time for catching up with the Clarks.
Yes.
And so this is basically where we guys kind of update you on what's been going on in our personal life.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick this one today, okay? To share with the listeners.
Sure.
What I'd like to share with you guys, what we've been up to.
Okay.
Over the last, I'd say, year or so.
I already know what this is going. I already know.
Been dealing with a big change in our life, in our relationship. And it's called menopause.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So I'm not going through menopause, but
yes, you are.
You're
going through it with me. Right. Yep.
And at first, when it popped up, we didn't really understand what was going on. We just noticed that things were off in our relationship, and we were not connecting. And my lovely wife was just getting pissed and irritated at me all the time, more than normal. And don't get me wrong, all couples go through their issues and challenges. We're no different, even though We're coaches. We're still human. We just have different techniques and strategies to overcome them way faster and to avoid them a lot better than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still human. And without that conflict, you don't grow. So that's a part of a relationship. You have to have conflict. And so, but the conflict was just kind of getting a little out of hand at points. And at first, because we didn't understand what was happening, we kind of was getting into it a lot.
A lot.
And then it seemed like no matter what solutions or strategies, they didn't seem to quite nail it. And so over time, my wife realized that it was due to menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And as you did research on it and started to understand it better, you started sharing it with me.
Yeah.
And then once I understood it, it was like, oh, okay. And so for me, as your partner, it really made a big difference because once I understood it, I realized that it wasn't a personal attack. I had more empathy. And I didn't take things as personally when you were going through it because I understood. And it had made it easier for me to support you through it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about that because I want to give you kudos because it was a rough start, but over the last couple of months, the last 4 or 5 months, you've been doing a great job.
Wow.
Maintaining your emotions and being open and when you're going through it to let me know what you're experiencing and asking for the things that you need from me instead of just and ripping my face off. And so that's been very helpful to me. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that.
Okay.
Kind of, let people know because many of you guys right now are going through it. And what we realize.
Or you're going to.
Yeah, we realize that a lot of couples break up because of that.
Yeah.
But they never realize, they don't realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just menopause and the symptoms. And if they would have known about it, had the education, then they could have overcome it and got through it. And on the other side, things would be much better.
Right.
So I want to share that. So what's your perspective? Well, do share.
First of all, I didn't realize that it started a long time ago. Menopause starts, my research said like around 40, between like 43, 45. And I just turned 59 years old. So I'm a late bloomer. I'm actually going through menopause really late in my life. But I have a suspicion it started in my 50s and I just didn't realize it, right? So a lot of times it happens over like 10 years. So it's like, there's that saying like, how do you boil a frog? Like a little bit at a time.
Right.
So it starts really slow. It's like really, really mild and you don't notice it and then it starts to ramp up over time. So what you experienced in what you're calling the beginning, Anthony, I think was like the peak for me, right? Like when my hormones were like crashing the most and I was getting more progesterone than estrogen. Estrogen is the hormone, the female hormone that makes us nice and makes us have a small waist and beautiful shiny hair. And so what was happening was all that was changing. I was getting thick in the middle. My hair is thinning. Like I didn't feel as nice as I used to feel. I was getting more progesterone, which was making me feel rage and irritation. And you got to be the target of that, you lucky guy. You.
Lucky me. Yeah. I'm built for it, so it's all right.
Yeah, you handled it really well. But what I ended up doing was just really, and this is kind of like what we've been talking about on the last couple of weeks on the podcast, is just really trying to be more self-aware, to look at myself more instead of looking at you. Like, yeah, I was annoyed with you and things you were doing were really annoying to me and I felt a lot of rage around them. But I also, because I know myself, I was like, I don't feel like me. Right. So then I started doing research and I realized what was happening and started studying, and learning about my hormones, because that's not something that as women we learn. Right. For me, growing up, all I ever heard about menopause was like, oh, you're going to have some hot flashes and then you're no longer going to have a cycle and that's the end of it. No, there's a lot more to it that happens to us as women. And so as I've been taking that journey, I've just tried different things. And for me, one of the main things that's really helped me is intermittent fasting and changing my diet, because our diet affects our hormones. Also really being aware of my microbiome, like my gut health, and eating foods that really support my gut health has helped a lot to manage my hormones. And then to be honest, taking time to myself. Like I have heard from almost every woman that is going through this, that one of the biggest needs that we have is to be alone. And that's really difficult when you're married because you can't get away from your husband. There he is all the time. Everywhere you turn, he's right there.
You know I'm right here right now too.
Oh yeah, forgot. Hey, hey there. Hi. But being able to communicate that to your partner, like I need to be by myself, and having your partner not take that as a personal attack. Like I think at first you took it as a personal attack, but then realizing like I need it.
Right.
I'm not being mean. I need it. It's not a want. It's a need. So did you take it as a personal attack?
Actually, hell yeah, I did.
Yeah, I thought so.
How can you not? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You're saying like, how do you boil a frog? How do you boil a husband?
Yeah.
Really slow. And eventually, no, it was boiling, baby. It was hot.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed it over I'd say when you're saying 10 years,
Yeah.
I noticed it gradually. It was happening more like things just kind of shifted.
Yeah.
But
Slowly.
it was still like, I love my baby and the love was still there and everything was still there.
Yeah.
But it was just like, there was no logical explanation. Like we'd have conversations and it wasn't logic anymore. It just got less and less logic, more and more emotional. And
What do you mean by that?
nothing. Ribbit. Ribbit.
I'm just teasing you.
And so it was the not knowing what was happening.
Yeah.
That was the hard part. So then your brain starts going all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what did I do? And maybe she doesn't care about me anymore. Maybe things are changing. Your brain starts going all over the place.
Yeah.
And with men, we don't get much training on how to deal with this or that it's coming. The most training that we get is that you get around other men and be like, yeah, she's being bitchy. She's on menopause.
Yeah.
She's going through menopause. And then you tell her, yeah, you're just being bitchy because you're going through menopause. Like that's going to make things better.
That does not help.
That ain't going to help.
No.
That makes it worse, 100 times worse.
Yeah.
And men just complain about it to each other.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but that's what I noticed men do.
Yeah.
So once I understood, it was like, oh, wow. It was enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me to have more empathy for you and to actually be able to support you.
Yeah.
And give you more of what you need. Because when all said and done, I want you to be happy. I want you to be your best you. So
thank you.
It's not a personal
I
attack.
appreciate that.
And it was one guy described it really well, where he was saying like, your wife is like American Werewolf of London.
Yeah.
And she's going through this transition and she's changing physically and things are falling off and things are changing her and she's going through it was like, yo, that was
that's kind of how it feels. And you just feel yourself changing in so many ways. Like another thing was brain fog. Like I couldn't remember. I used to be able to remember everything and anything. I was really motivated. And then I had a period of time where I had no motivation whatsoever. I went through some depression. I hadn't had depression since my 20s. So to experience depression again was really difficult for me. So it's just a lot. And I think that I'm at the place now, and what you've noticed over the last few months is I'm getting on the other side of it. So I'm actually at a place where I can see the perfection in it. I actually see the beauty in it now, and I'm not resisting it. I'm accepting it. It happens when your children grow up and go away. It's an opportunity to reinvent yourself and to become a whole new version of yourself, which is where I'm at right now in my life. And I'm really enjoying that. It's an opportunity to redefine your relationship and to really grow individually so that you can grow as a couple. So there's so many good things to it as well as the bad stuff. So I think it's just it's part of life. There's going to be good. There's going to be bad. It's a season. And I really think like a lot of times we go through really hard times in our life to get us prepared for the good times. And I feel like the good times are about to roll with us.
Oh, yeah.
It's already happening.
Even better times.
Even better times. So I am grateful that you stuck with me through it and you loved and supported me through it. You were phenomenal. You are phenomenal. And I appreciate you. But guess what? I don't want to hog the conversation. So let's get to our topic.
Damn, that was smooth. Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
Good job. All right, people. So once again, if you guys are going through this, there's a lot of you that are going through it that you just may not realize it. But do some research. Look into it. And that understanding and that knowledge, it'll change things.
Thanks for bringing that up today. I appreciate it. I love when you put me on blast about my personal life.
Okay. So now it's time for the main topic.
Yes.
The main topic today is being a conversation hog.
Ooh.
These are irritating traits that you may possess to other people around you, and it could be negatively affecting your relationships, your dating life,
Yeah.
and life in general.
Yeah.
And the key is to look at it and go, am I doing that?
Yeah.
And if I am, do I want to change it?
Yeah.
And so we're going to give you some guidance, understanding, and some tips on how to change it so that you can have better relationships. Now, once again, when we go to like deeper conversations about relationships, because we are coaches, those are great. But if you can't handle the low-hanging fruit, if you can't address those, then you're not ready for the heavier stuff, the deeper stuff.
Yeah.
So let's start at the surface. So over the last 24 years, we noticed that in our coaching practice and in our personal lives, that being a conversation hog and the other traits that we cover, these are things that really impact your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So what is a conversation hog? A conversation hog is someone who talks excessively without allowing others to contribute, frequently interrupts or talks over other people, shifts every topic back to themselves, nods or gives superficial responses but don't actually engage with what others say, rarely asks questions or shows curiosity about others' experiences. While enthusiasm and storytelling are great, failing to balance talking with listening can push people away. So, let's go. Okay, I'll let you jump in there. What have been your experiences with people that are conversation hogs? Like, give us some examples. Encounters you've had.
I think.
First of all, are you a conversation hog?
I have been. Yes, I can be.
Okay.
I have awareness of that. One of the things, though, I'll be honest with you, I got tired of being a conversation hog. And the reason I got tired of it is, I think because I'm a coach and I study a lot of different things, I can talk about a lot of different things. And when I get around people that know me, they want my opinion. And I really love being a student. I don't always want to be a teacher. So I started just saying to myself, like, in this environment or in this, when I go meet with these people, I'm going to just kind of lay back. I don't want to be the leader. I want to be a student in this environment. So I kind of practiced scaling it back once I had awareness of it. And again, I just got exhausted of everywhere that I go where it's like, so let's, Melanie, take over the room, right? Like I can do it. I don't always want to. So that was my experience with myself being a conversation hog. I do have some people in my life that are conversation hogs, and I tend to just kind of pull back, right? Like I expect it. I know that's what they're going to do. I don't take it personally. I just let them do it. And I kind of see it like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I kind of see it like performative, right? Like they just want to perform. They want to show me how great they are. They want to show me how much they know. And so I just kind of take it from the perspective of, you're just sharing yourself with me. So you go head on and do that. And I don't have to get in there. It's okay. I kind of just let them.
Right.
That's how I handle it.
You know, my name is Anthony Clark, and I too have been a conversation hog, and I can occasionally be one still, but I pick and choose my environments where I let myself hog out, pig out. And so, for example, similar to you, where I was around a lot of people that were like, they're kind of a little lower vibration. So they're like, entertain us, be big Anthony, be big, that big energy. And it was like, okay. And I'd be that. And they loved it. But then when I'd get around other people that weren't so much like that, then I noticed a different response. Once again, the eyes roll in the back of the head, like in that hole, here we go again. And the people getting, and it was like, wait a minute, why are they acting like, okay, because they're taking it like I'm overshadowing them or I'm taking out. But then there were dead spots where it's painful just being in a room with people just sitting there staring at the phone, staring, and it's like, if I'm going to be here, let's engage.
You're going to hear something.
You're going to hear something. Let's create something interesting here. And so I went through that stage. And then after a while, I just learned to just be the observer, because overall, most people didn't respond negatively. It was usually people I found that were insecure. And so they projected their insecurity on me, that I was outshining them, or they But they had other stuff going on in most cases anyway. It was nothing about me. And the people that enjoyed me, they encouraged me to be. And whenever I'd be quiet, then people have a problem with that. Like, what's wrong with him?
Right.
Why is he being quiet? Anthony, you okay?
Yeah.
Come on, get in there. And it's like, which one is it?
Do that thing you do.
Do that thing you do. Yeah. Entertain us. Everybody, I showed you about Anthony.
Yeah.
And like when you first met me, you described me as being a frog.
Yep.
Remember that? I used to be.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, where when I'm with the people I'm comfortable around, I feel like they get it. I'm big energy and they love it. And then when they take me around other people, if I don't know you, then I'm worried about, you're going to judge me and this and that. So I would be quiet.
Yeah.
Then they'd be like, I thought where's this guy you were talking about? Why is he so shy? Why is he? Because I'm actually more an introvert as well as an extrovert, but more so an introvert. I just know how to be an extrovert when it's time. I'm cool with that too. So now I'm just more aware of the people I'm around, and I learned to just listen to people more.
Yeah.
But with the people in my life that are like that, it's draining, man, because it just feels like there's no space.
Why am I here?
Right. And it wouldn't really be a conversation hog the same way where if you're engaging other people.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I'll start the topic and I'll get the party going, and then I encourage other people to jump in. What do you think now?
Yeah, it's a handoff. Mm-hmm.
And so it's an exchange, and they tell me their perspective. And it's almost like a party starter.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like, I'm just going to keep talking, and I'm just going to keep talking, and I'm just going to keep talking. But the people in my life that I want to get closer to that are conversation hogs, there's no room for any other input except for theirs. And after a while, it gets draining. Mm-hmm. And you can't connect to that person because it's almost like they don't hear you, they don't care. So I just shut down around
You know what's funny is when you get two conversation hogs in a room together and they're trying to have a conversation and they're just like fighting for, to be heard, and it gets loud and it gets big energy. Yeah. I mean, that's so fascinating to me. So, one of the things that I learned in writing this book, and this is just, I'm going to say I didn't know any better. And sometimes when people are conversation hogs, they just don't know any better. One of the things that I would do, and I probably still do it, so I'm going to have to make a note to self to be aware of it, is when someone's talking and they're telling you what's going on with them, wanting to say like, I've had that experience too, right? Mm-hmm. To kind of jump in there. And I do that not from a place of like, I want to hog the conversation. I always saw it as like relating to people. Like, I want you to know that I understand. Right. Like, I've had that experience, but I'm learning recently that kind of can come off like you are dismissing their experience and making it about you. And that's not been my intention. So I'm trying to change that because it's actually been something that I've done a lot because I thought it was a good thing. But I think, we're all always learning and growing and changing. And that's a great thing about this book. You can look at yourself and see what works for you. And then you could communicate your intention if you do something that is off-putting to people or irritates them, as the title of the book infers.
I think the one person's conversation hog is another one's conversation piglet.
Why?
Yeah, because I think we kind of do more of the piglet thing.
Really?
So it's like,
are you giving us a pass because we're coaches?
In all honesty, because people want us there for our personality. People want us. They want to be around us. They want us to engage. That's one of the things they love about our brand. Yeah. But we don't just take the conversation completely. We talk to people. We engage. We set up the conversation, but we don't completely hog it. I think we get the party started.
I think we did a little bit. I think a little bit we did when we went to Africa because we were just so excited. I think we did a little bit.
I think so, but that was on them for asking us about it. Don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Don't ask me, I won't tell you. As soon as people are like, tell me about it. And then it was like, that goes back to some of the whys.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, so why do people do it? Why? Why, Anthony? Why? Tell us why.
Well, of course, in our research, because once we learned these traits, we looked at our own personal experiences.
Yes, of course.
And as well as the psychology behind it.
Yes.
Which you just kind of nailed on. One of the reasons people do it is excitement, but also or nervousness. So we did it more from excitement. Yeah. And the people that would ask us about it, they would be excited. Like, oh my God, you went. Tell us about it. Yeah. And they enjoyed it. But then there were other people that just were like, So how'd it go? Well, tell us about it.
Yeah.
And they kind of, so it's a weird one. I wouldn't say we consistently did it. In all honesty, I don't say that we constantly did it. It was the people that engaged us.
I didn't say constantly. I said
and
we
then
did a little
certain
bit.
people, they just have low attention spans.
Yeah.
And no matter what conversation we have, they kind of check out eventually anyway. So
okay, why? Give me another why. Give me another why.
Nervousness. We have people in our life that do it out of nervousness.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're having a conversation and he's, well, I did this because, and it's like, calm down.
Yeah.
And that nervousness is to avoid vulnerability in many cases.
I would say that one I would apply to the daters. Be aware of this in dating, because that comes off like you're not confident, right? And that can make people be turned off and not think that you're a good, viable partner, because they'll perceive it as you don't have confidence.
Another one, lack of awareness.
Yeah.
People just don't know that they're doing it.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. They think it's natural, normal, or they grew up in an environment where that was the norm.
Yeah.
We have people in our life that are like that. Another part of being a conversation hog is being loud. People, people are yelling across the table. And that can be very irritating. And they do that out of attention.
Yeah.
A lot of times, lack of attention, need for validation.
Yeah.
Constant talking.
Makes sense.
Might stem from a desire to impress others.
All of those reasons make sense, right? And I think that that's where self-awareness comes into play. Like, who am I and why do I need validation from other people? And why am I doing that? I think it's super important. That's why we wrote the book, to help people to do that. So let's give them at least one tip of how they can change that before we wrap it up on this session today.
And one way, if you're a conversation hog, one way you can start to change the process. The first part is to identify it, that yes, that is probably something I may be doing or I am doing.
Yeah.
The next part is to understand why. We kind of covered that, some of the reasons why. But once again, the ebook goes way deeper into reasons why. So one of the tips you can use to fix it is to pause and check in. After talking for a moment, ask, what do you think? Or have you ever experienced something similar?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're breaking up the pattern of just you talking and rambling on and on and on.
Yeah.
And to take the time to check in, to ask that person. So it kind of breaks up that pattern. Now they have to give their input.
Yeah.
And the key is, while they give their input, let them go on as long as they need to go on.
Yeah. I think I say this for every trait, but one of the main things you could do is read the room. Pay attention to people's body language. Pay attention to how engaged they are. And I think sometimes when people are hogging the conversation, they're not really even connecting to another person. They're just pushing information at them.
Right.
And so they're not like noticing like, oh, they're not responding to this. A good example of that is, first of all, I do not care about sports at all. And so when people talk to me about sports, it's so obvious I don't care about sports, but like I've noticed people will still like tell me all about the game and the points and the where, and I'm just like, I'll even say it like, I don't really care about sports. I'm not really into sports, but they'll still talk to me about it. And so I just always walk away from those conversations thinking that person's just not really good at reading the room, right? And so they just want to hog the conversation because that's something they're excited about and they're passionate about. And once again, I kind of just, lay back in the cut and be like, okay, let me just let them enjoy themselves talking about sports. It's not really about me right now. Right. So I don't think it's always personal. And I think that's a big takeaway from the book. People are not sitting around going like, I want to hog the conversation. I want to exclude you from the conversation. I think it's just lack of awareness sometimes. So hopefully the book helps people to have more awareness of themselves and other people.
Right. I agree. And it starts with, like I said, something as simple as that. Just ask questions.
Yes.
And really, truly want to know the other person's perspective.
Yes.
And if you do that, that'll start to like make things change almost immediately. And if you find yourself jumping back in again, apologize. Catch yourself, because it's a new pattern of behavior that you're practicing. Yeah. So check yourself and apologize. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Okay, sorry. Yeah, finish.
Yeah.
And literally be patient.
Yes.
And care.
I love it. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this series. So,
and once again, guys, if you want to copy this ebook, just go to theamazingclarks.com. You can get your copy there and download it.
You just did one of the traits. You cut me off.
No, that wasn't hogging.
And you were hogging the conversation.
No, I was guiding. I was guiding it.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
I love you. All right. That's it for this segment.
I still love you.
I still love you too. So I want to thank all of you for hanging out with us. We really love and appreciate all of you guys.
Yes, we do. Love and appreciate all of you guys. And if you guys haven't had a chance yet to get a copy of our book, Crack the Code, Secrets to Achieving Your Happily Ever After, make sure you pick up your copy today, available at Amazon.com. And if you're interested in becoming a life coach or just want to learn some techniques to life coach yourself or the people around you, you can check out our life coach training and certification course at Law of Attraction LifeCoachAcademy.com. And last but not least, if you're interested in coaching with the amazing Clarks, yes, people, you can coach with us both. You can do it online, via Zoom, by telephone, or even in person if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. To learn more, go to theamazingclarks.com.
Yes, and make sure you're connecting with us over Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Amazing Clarks. And remember, to go there, you got to grow there.
So there you go, people. We gave it to you. Now what you're going to do with it.
Love the Amazing Clarks.